It's your destiny to greatness with Dr. C and Brothers Keeper. Today, where we've been, where we're going, and Friday trivia. And now, here are Dr. C and Brothers Keeper.
Hello, 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 and welcome to your Destiny to Greatness. Dr. C here with you today with my partner,
Brothers Keeper. Hey, guess what? I almost didn't recognize Dr. C today. Do y'all see anything different about her today? Ain't she pretty?
one of my favorite people in this world, and he treats me not so nice sometimes. Which brings me to our topic, our subject for today. Don't let your past determine the outcome of your future. So regardless of how Brothers Keeper decides to treat me or how he has it in the past, I'm not going to let that determine the outcome of my future. But in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, we've all gone through some difficult times and we've had some experiences. Some of us have even experienced tragedies that if we would allow it, it would derail us from going where we need to go. But we want to encourage you today that no matter what it is in your past, do not let that determine your future. So, if you would just give us a short moment, we'll be back to expound on that topic. We'll be back.
The winds of revival have been blowing for some time. The stirring already existed. It's just waiting on your mind. You have to see the wind, and you have to feel the groove, and yield yourself unto God so you'll know when to move. The harvest is plenty, but the workers, they are few. You think you're waiting for God to move, but honestly, He's waiting on you. You are the difference. You make the change. You can cause the shift in time and help hearts rearrange. It is you that carries the mantle and causes the wind to blow. If only you would tell God yes instead of saying no. The streets are crying out with sinners who need God. Prostitutes and dealers and addicts in the night, waiting on someone who looks just like you to tell them they can make it and tarry to pray them through. But yet, we're all too busy praying selfishly and not for one another because our concern is me. What happened to the love and the sacrifice of caring, pulling someone out of their mess, testifying and sharing? What happened to praying on the corners for the lost? What happened to your promise to God to reach them at any cost? You're looking for revival, but revival lies in you. The wind will blow with overflow if you would just leave. Don't look for other people to move or bring word. When Elisha needed to be fed, God sent him a bird. If He can use a bird to feed the prophet then, He can use you now to stir up that great wind that you are waiting for, expecting it to blow. The revival is in the streets, Bishop, and God said it's time to go. Blow, wind, blow.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm thinking about Job chapter 8, verse 7, but I actually like the New Century Version. And it says, where you began will seem unimportant because your future will be so successful. And that is a message of hope there.
Yes.
Because when you move on and you progress through on this journey to your destiny, you're going to come upon some obstacles and stumbling blocks. But once you receive those successes, then whatever happened in the past, it won't even seem as important as it may seem right now.
Yes, and Dr. C, you're exactly right, because if we could look at our past and stop looking at it so much at the negative aspects of our past, now understand that our past is there as a teacher of wisdom.
Yes.
And some of the things that we experience we can build upon those. And I said earlier that we could take that experience and we can pass it on to our seed and our seed, and throughout the generations, we can learn from maybe my mistakes. They may not have to go on the same journey of mistakes, if I may use that,
Right.
as I did. Knowing we're going to make mistakes, they can make their own and learn from mine, so they'll be a lot more apt to catch themselves in the mistake sooner than had not known any of my material from my mistakes from early on.
Well, the thing of it is, we will definitely be an example to others looking on as we make it through successfully, and we don't let negative things in our past or bad experiences, hardships, hold us back and keep us down. But for us, if we can keep this thing personal, if we can know that there is hope and the better day is coming,
Yes.
then that helps. Because in a day and time like this, we need to be encouraged, because the enemy wants to come in and attack our minds and tell us, you messed up before and you're always going to mess up. No one wants you, or no one wants to be around you. But we need to be encouraging ourselves and taking hold to that so that we can go on.
Now, to see if I can expound upon that. What I'm hearing is that if we have enough confidence in ourselves and not look so much at what people are talking about, we'll be able to, in our psyche, be able to decipher what's best for us and not allow the past to cloud our vision and our judgment, and it will cause us to miss out on some things. As you said,
Yes.
we'll start to stumble. But if we could just build upon it, get the right frame of mind, then we can clearly see all those things that are in our destiny.
Well, beautifully said. Then if we go to, and I know we've mentioned this biblical woman before, the woman who was caught in adultery.
Yes.
But this particular day, I'm thinking when she was brought in front of Jesus, Jesus did not go down and hold a whole bunch of things over her head. He knew. And he told her clearly to sin no more. Go on and sin no more. So that's the same for us. If we have done certain things, we don't have to be stuck in that negative thing. We can go to Jesus because he is so forgiving. People, not so much all the time. But Jesus is.
Well, Dr. C, if I can sidebar for a second,
Sure.
being you're talking about this forgiveness.
Yes.
It brings to mind 1 John 1:9.
Okay.
And it states, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just, and will forgive us of our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness.
I believe it. And that is a good thing for us. I know me personally, if it hadn't been for Jesus forgiving my sins, I would be nowhere. I'd be lost.
Yes. I as well. I don't know about anyone else, but I thank him every day.
Every day.
And I thank him for the wisdom to understand that all that I've done in my past, Dr. C, I understand it. I realize that some things that I could have done could have been better,
Right.
but I can't go back and change it. So I embrace that person who propelled me into the person I am
Yes.
today. And as they say, I'm good with both of them.
Wow, I like that. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, you too may have some things that possibly are holding you back right now. And it doesn't have to hold you back. You deserve better. You deserve the happiness and peace that Jesus will give you. But you have to release. Do not hold on to those things. What's done is done, and you may hurt, you may be sorry, and that's all well and good. But I'm encouraging you to look forward. Look forward and then to give it to Jesus. Because when you give up those things, whether it's bad habit, bad feelings, hurt, when you give that up and you release that from your person and give it to Jesus, things start to turn around.
Yes, because as long as you're wrestling with it and unwilling to let it go, it's like we're stuck in the past. Because as long as we are stuck in that moment, we're never embracing what's in our future.
Well, hopefully you are beginning to embrace this message of hope and encouragement, and we're coming back to tie things up with our final note. Don't let your past dictate or determine the outcome of your future. We'll see you shortly. Thank you for staying with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we're talking and reflecting on our future and we're chasing our potential, we want to just instill in you to hold on and not let the things of your past dictate where you're going in your future. And sometimes many times it has to do with the messages that we allow to infiltrate our mind. Satan, he desires to attack us. He does not want us to bask in the glory of the Lord. And because of that, he'll speak certain things to our minds, and it'll cause us to kind of hold back and withdraw. And we don't want to do that. Brothers Keeper, go ahead.
Dr. C, it's funny that you mentioned that. If I could piggyback on that.
Yes, go ahead.
You were talking about chasing your potential. Many times, the enemy can see our potential, and they ask me, what do you mean by chasing your potential? If we're stuck in our past, that means when you're stuck, you're not moving. Chasing is action. So many times, we see our potential, but we have to chase it because the enemy sometimes will grab hold to it and it keeps moving around trying for us not to get it. And we have to diligently
That's right.
chase our potential.
Yeah.
And while we're chasing that, letting us know that we are not in one spot, we're steady trying to, at least we're moving, we're mobile. And sooner or later, we'll catch up with it.
Well, Brothers Keeper, the thing about this as far as potential and not getting stuck in a particular place is being mindful that we're human, we make mistakes, we're not perfect, we may not be the best, but I tell you what, we're definitely not the worst, because what God has put in us, that's good.
Yes.
Everything that he created is good, and if we would just focus on that and walk and reach, do a little bit of chasing, actively work towards our goals. Even if we stumble, get on back up and keep moving.
Yes.
I think it has a little bit to do with the question that you're going to ask today.
Yes. We have our Friday trivia, of course.
Friday trivia.
Friday trivia. And today we'll be talking about Moses. And we was talking about not getting stuck in our past. And we all know that Moses, he stuttered. Moses came from a past where it was a decree put out to kill all the males of his family. He ended up being raised in the palace. But Moses had an issue that he felt was so terrible that he had to flee for his life. And we'll get back to the question in a second, but understanding that he did such a thing that was so terrible to him, he was stuck around the mountain for years. But God saw something in Moses. He was willing to invest in Moses to allow Moses to be the one to lead his people out of Egypt. And my question today is, what horrendous thing did Moses do to cause him to have to flee for his life?
Nice. What horrendous thing did Moses do to cause him to have to flee
for his life.
For his life. Wow. Wonderful. Get your answers in by 11:59
p.m.
tonight. Yes. And you can email them to your.destinytogreatness@gmail.com. And while you're thinking about Moses and what he did to cause him to flee for his life, think about, just for a moment, we are permitted to think about those past events for a little while. Think about anything that you've done or you've said. And once you think about that, then say, Jesus, I need you to come in and forgive me. And when he does, you can go ahead and move on. And I promise you, there is no sin too great, too big for Jesus to be able to come in and heal and save.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, your future is there and is very bright. Just know that God, I didn't see any perfect people that he's chosen, even down throughout the biblical days. So therefore, we are just right for him to use us.
We've often been told that when situations arise, just pray and stand. But I'm here to tell you, some instances, we have to flee. Because some issues may overwhelm us, and by us stand, it will cause us to get stuck, or we maybe start to lose our footing. So just as Moses had to flee for his life from Egypt, sometimes we have to flee for our spiritual life. So let us discern what's going on and take the word of God and use it properly. Don't just look at it and say, well, the word says this, that, and the third. He understands that we have wisdom that's endued with our power. So use a little wisdom sometimes. Don't just stand there and be beat up when all you got to do is take one step to the side or one step to the right or left or back or flee. Flee for your spiritual life if you have to, because your natural life may depend upon it. It's just me thinking again. I'm thinking that if we all could just overcome people, we'll be much better off. Exercise our faith in God and understand that anything that we've done, he has the capability to forgive us. And once we are forgiven, it says it goes into the sea of forgetfulness. So if God has forgiven us, why are we still stuck on people? They have no heaven to put us in or no hell to send us to. I understand we're still stuck on worrying about what people think. But let us get past it. Look at our past as an educational tool. We can be taught some experiences that we've had can be meaningful in our future. But until we get rid of the past using it in a negative aspect, we'll never be able to embrace our future. So look back at it, learn a few things, let it go. Look forward to God, and then we can walk into our destiny. It's just me thinking again.
We are destined for greatness.
Now, you guys remember this one from when you were little. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. There's a Father up above, and he's looking down in love. So be careful, little eyes, what they see. Or maybe it was what you see. But ladies and gentlemen, what I want to encourage you today is be careful what you allow your eyes to see. Whether it be movies or anything like that. It could just be a TV show. But an innocent TV show is not innocent if it's going to deter you and pull you away from Jesus. When we see things, it's very hard to forget. So the same as that little song, be careful what your eyes see, be careful what your hands do. When we are careful, then we're sure to be pleasing to the Lord. As you walk towards your destiny, be careful and be pleasing.
We are destined for greatness.